Always,
What?
not as always, but that's his last name, as
Oh.
always.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll let him know we're doing a show here in a few minutes. And as always, in between is
I'm just
Kush
getting here.
Queen.
Hola, hola.
She's feeling a little under the hat today.
Yeah.
It's Under the Hat with Kush Queen.
Who's under the hat?
Guess who's under the hat? Everyone knows who's under the hat.
It's me.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
What's new?
I can't talk about that.
You know, nothing.
Nothing.
Same old fight, same old battle, same old.
Well, things are traveling along at a snail's pace here in the world.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of good, though.
never a dull
A
moment.
slow meandering pace.
Never a dull moment. But we're still alive and well here down at Cannabis Culture Headquarters, high atop the store here in the studio. Thanks to
Almost
Alyssa. She's over in the house here flipping the switches and poking at stuff. So we appreciate her bringing us live to you guys. Thanks for tuning in out there. Join in the chat if you dare. That is a different world.
We're not there, but you
Yeah.
guys go ahead and talk.
Yeah.
Talk amongst each other.
Talk amongst yourselves. Yeah. And thanks to everybody who does check out the show when it's not live, because you just can't handle this kind of pace. All right? All right. They're going, oh my God, this is live. I don't know what to do.
Holy
I gotta
crap,
load
Cat, I
and
wish I could just
fuck."
fast forward this. Let's get
To the
something
good
funny
parts,
already.
right? To the good parts.
Now we've got a Starbucks juice cam here in the house, I
Yeah.
think.
Cam.
Whole stack of weed over there on Al's side. I'm puffing on.
I'm proudly brought
Raw
to you by
papers,
Starbucks.
Proudly kept awake by Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm puffing on some Hindu Kush that's very nice.
Very, very nice.
More,
I like that shit.
a little more Hindu than Kush, I think.
It is.
And I'm willing to prove it. I've also got this fucking sick goo. I don't know. This is an extract from some Angolan that is some of the finest stuff I've ever smoked, I think.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, they actually know the two villages where the strains came from. And it's a couple of different ones. And wow. Right on, thanks. You know who you are. This is fucking killer. So I've been puffing on that for the last couple of days, keeping me awake, and working at the seed desk.
So where you been?
Yep,
Oh.
behind the seed desk. That's why you didn't see me.
Oh.
I'm behind the seed desk.
I was looking
She's
in
under
front.
the seed desk. What
You
can
know.
we do, eh?
That sounded really bad.
Oh no, I
For
meant
who?
no. No. I meant it in the best way.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, we're thrilled to be here. Now, the first thing I wanted to talk about today is kind of unrelated to marijuana,
What?
or is it?
I don't know, man. I'm
No.
skeptical now.
Yesterday, the federal government tabled legislation to, I don't know, to reinforce the rights of the LBGT community.
Yes,
Which is a very good thing, right? They made a big announcement, and they all stood together and made the announcement about it, and raised the awareness of the need to be kind to one another. But I, as I was watching it, I thought, well, wow, like they were so proud of telling me that the people who have been active to get this legislation put through, and how they were so happy to be able to do that for them, and how hard those people work to change the ways, right?
The activists.
the activists who
The
stood there
activists.
side by side with them, right? And I thought, wow, that's kind of different than the way they're treating marijuana activists here in Canada. They won't stand on the stage with us. They won't even let us talk to them about it. And here we have been for a much longer time begging and pleading for them to change the hurtful laws that they have against us. I just thought it was an odd juxtaposition, right? So I'm willing, I don't know about the rest of the panel here, to join that group and call it the LBGTHC.
No.
We'll just join in with them. Just add those 2 letters
Why
is
not?
all we want.
I'm down.
Well,
Really?
no, no, I'm not.
Really?
All gather together.
But really, like, this is the same kind of fight, right? It is exactly the same kind of fight that we have. Now, so maybe it's just an easier thing for them to get behind, right? Like, I don't know what it is, but there's something really fucking fishy going on about the legalization of marijuana in Canada. I gotta say, this smells really, really bad. They're excluding anybody from the discussion who is not about to get fucking paid for it large,
You gotta have
right?
You gotta have like $1 million to get in the door for discussions.
Oh, and you got to know somebody for sure. Like, it's just the old boys network going on here. That's the reason why they don't want anybody from the marijuana industry involved, is because they're about to fuck us, right? Because they don't want to do that in front of your face, right? They haven't got the balls to do that in front of Dana Larson or Jody Emery or Kirk Tusaw or any of these people, right? But on and on it goes. Now, here in the city of Vancouver this week, they actually issued the very first license to the first dispensary. Like, one. It was in the news. One license has been issued. It's 300 meters away from everything. Hey? It's not three, right? 300 meters away from any other marijuana there is in Canada, right? Now, guess where they opened that one?
Where?
Guess where that fucking place is?
Where?
Mayor Gregor Robertson's neighborhood. It's in Point Grey, which is one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in Vancouver.
Seriously, in Point Grey they passed a dispensary?
That's the very first license that has
Holy
been issued
fuck.
yesterday. No
Money.
shit. And here is the fucking...
And what's the name of the dispensary?
Oh, man,
That's
I
the
don't even
thing,
want
we
to
don't
tell
know.
you.
What is it?
It's
we
called the
know that?
Wealth Society. Wealth Society. No shit.
I wonder if that's one of the ones that's connected to the licensed producers. There's
Huh.
there's lots of
Huh.
there's lots of
Funny you should say that,
lots
Al.
of lots of urban myths circulating that the licensed producers have been going and setting up dispensaries and securing storefront locations for the transfer that's coming down the pipeline in roughly 36 months.
Well, Al's right on the money. And for a guy who never comes to the meetings. You're
I don't
fucking-
need to go to the meetings.
He's so on point.
It's the meetings.
No, here's the fucking thing. So here's what these goofballs at the Wealth Center. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Wealth of what? Wealth Center.
Well, that's,
Oh,
that's what
God.
got them their license.
Like, there's
Clearly.
these people are snickering somewhere. They're
for
just
sure.
fucking snickering, going, I can't believe it's called the Wealth Shop. Now, here's what the Wealth Shop claims. We are out to reinvent how things are done.
Oh boy.
Hey? Dispensaries have a bad name in Vancouver. We want to create an approachable, accessible, and safe environment for all our members.
Fuck, they better stand in line with everybody else that
Right?
has a dispensary that's trying to do that.
They only work with trusted suppliers that meet the rigorous product safety, sustainable, and health standards. Really? Nowhere do they mention that they have good marijuana.
So they got pictures of the marijuana.
Oh, I went on their webpage, and back to what you were saying, as soon as that webpage hit the screen, the word Tilray came over me.
Yeah, of course it did.
No shit.
Of course it
Like
did.
it seemed to me it was the very same picture that Tilray used on their homepage for the very longest time. But there was no other real indication that it was them. It's just a feeling I had. So, but they had 2 fucking strains of marijuana, and both of them were green crack. No shit. And also a category is called fake weed.
Schnickel Fritz?
Ever heard of that? Ever heard of fake weed?
Fake weed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew guys that used to sell it in high school.
Yeah. You can get it
Sometimes
from,
they got punched out. Sometimes they made good money.
apparently you can get it from Tilray. I don't know.
Awful.
Really, there was 2 other strains, no pictures, but 2 strains they had. And of course, you have to become a member. They're accepting memberships now, right? You go, really? Who the fuck wants
You
to
need
be
a membership to buy 2 different fucking
2 kinds of
2
green
different
crack?
grow rooms of green crack. We got green crack from 2 different grow rooms.
Now, here's what the dopey city official said. You know, it signals that the city is committed to this. Giving out 1 license to some maybe Tilray and fucking Point Grey. Come on. It's not that we were never willing to issue a business license. So I guess they're just going to wash their hands of it and they're going away now. They've done 1. Right? And they're going, see, we told you that's what we were going to do.
It's
Now-
a pretty lengthy process to qualify for these things. There's like so many different stages. Once you get your okay, then you have to apply for building permits. You have to apply for all kinds of stuff. And then that takes a certain amount of time. And then you go into construction, and then that takes a certain amount of time. And then you present your whole location again that they've already said okay. And they make sure that you've done all of your permits, and you've got the right contract. Not just you just didn't get a contractor, but you got to get the right guys, the guys that are playing with the city, because the city's not going to give permits to just any contractor you pull out of the fucking yellow pages. You got to look and make sure you're dealing with a contractor that works directly with the city, with the guys that are giving fucking permits, and make sure that contractor has an upstanding reputation with those people. Otherwise, you're fucked.
Otherwise.
Totally.
And it's going to cost you about $150K to get all the permits in place.
Now here's something that was a big deal in the story about the first dispensary, is that they signed a good neighbor agreement. I went to City Hall's webpage and I could not find out what the good neighbor agreement is.
It's just something they made
I feel like it's already an unspoken contract. Like,
But here's what this idiot from the city said. The good neighbor agreement signed yesterday.
420, guys.
Happy 420.
happy 420.
So here's what they said. The good neighbor agreement signed yesterday clearly indicated that they were all willing to sign it. That's what they said.
What?
No shit. The signing of the agreement clearly indicated they were willing to sign it. That's what she
man.
said.
Stupid as
Oh yeah, these fucking hillbillies that are working at the city. Oh my
kinda
god. Oh
Nobody
yeah.
forced anybody. Nobody forced anybody to sign it. It clearly states that they signed it out of their own free will.
Yeah.
It's the friendly neighbor agreement.
No. No, you can just see how crooked these people are. They've never been faced with the opportunity to cash in as much as they possibly can as they do with marijuana. And I predict they are not sophisticated enough to pull it off without getting caught. Here, that's my prediction. They're going to get caught.
There is some sort of scandal brewing.
Oh, it's fucking hideous.
Because okay, let's just put everything into real perspective here. We have a regulatory board of volunteers, the Board of Variance, that states whether you can or cannot sell weed, which is something they can't tell you what to do because it's, for one, illegal. and for their opinion, you got to pay them $30,000. There's some sort of scandal brewing there.
Oh, absolutely.
No kidding.
No, absolutely.
I'm gonna actually start a secondary board called the Board of Variables, and I'm gonna have a bunch of volunteers, and we'll do it for $5,000. We'll give you your yearly
you can
license
have a
for
license for
$5,000, and at the end of the year, we'll give you back $3,500. And it's the Board of Variables, and based on the variables of the inconsistency of the Board of Variance, I think we stand a chance. How about that?
Yeah. And-
That's as absurd, right?
And you got to move our weed.
It's like, no, the whole thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's a
You
group
gotta
of
move our
volunteers
weed.
that are telling you where you can and can't sell weed.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
Oh no, they're totally out of control at City Hall here. They're just going berserk, and that's why it's going to blow up in their faces, because these people are not sophisticated enough to pull it off. It's very transparent right now what's going on, right? I question, and maybe it should be a public record, where the wealth shops getting their fucking weed from. I'd like to know that right now. The city just issued them a license to sell me marijuana. I have no fucking idea where it's coming from or what's been done to it.
It's green
Other than
crack,
the
you can
claims
trust
of the shop saying
Hey,
that's selling it to
We
me.
got two different kinds of green crack. that is about as trustworthy as it gets.
Yeah, you don't like that one? Try this one.
Yeah.
Very good point. Now, the legalization of
You can
marijuana.
pre-order their next crop tomorrow.
Yeah.
We
This-
got two kinds of PK coming up next.
This is the Wild West out here, as we all have heard, of course, and in Toronto.
Ridiculous land is what it is.
But-
it's like bizarro world.
New Brunswick is different.
Oh, you
Things
don't
are
even
different
talk
in New
about
Brunswick.
You can't even talk about New Brunswick.
You guys aren't
man.
from New Brunswick, are you? No, you look
You
like
guys- are you
look
aware
like you're
there-
from Quebec. Yeah? Quebec?
A little bit far east.
Too far east.
Conjoining.
Oh, Toronto.
What you
Nice.
have Toronto, you can hear, cause BC rules.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
Well, there's no New Brunswickers in the house, so I'll continue.
Go on.
They're not allowed to disclose.
Go on.
If you're from New Brunswick, you can't disclose
Well-
outside of New Brunswick that you're from New Brunswick.
Yeah. Well.
So we would never know who's from New Brunswick. And if somebody said they were from New Brunswick, they're probably lying.
Like I said, I'm from Ontario.
Oh no, I'm not saying you specifically, but that could you see
We'll check
that could be
we'll
in
check
addition to
the
being from
ID
New
a little
Brunswick,
later.
because she did say she's from Ontario.
That's what a New Brunswicker would say too, isn't it?
Well,
But-
You're catching on.
you're not allowed to disclose, so it's possible.
So they're in a big flap there down in New Brunswick.
Oh yeah, they're
All
trying
of
to,
the political parties have gotten together and are calling. They're calling for a public debate on legalizing marijuana before the federal government tells them what they're going to do.
because they're
Right.
fucking smart in New Brunswick,
Right.
because they've had shit going on in New Brunswick for a lot longer than most Canadians realize. And
But-
New Brunswick.
They don't care. They don't care about us. Here's
Wish
what
I
they
could talk
say.
about New Brunswick.
We should have an open debate about this now, about what that looks like in New Brunswick for New Brunswickers.
Right.
That's it. That's all. Right? The apocalypse is coming, and New Brunswick is going to survive it. That's what I'm predicting here. Right?
It's the New Brunswick ellipse.
It is. Yeah, it made everybody go silent here.
It
They're,
did.
they're stunned by
They
this
are
news
stunned.
out of New Brunswick.
People are
So
taken aback
stunned.
by the
Right.
news from New Brunswick.
They've got what they want to get right to is to see how they're going to use the benefits that are going to come from legalization, because the benefits.
Well, they already.
How are we
got,
going to use those?
They already got the infrastructure there to distribute it to the schools and all of that. We're just looking for a way to implement it. New Brunswick's fucking tapped in.
Oh yeah, they're way ahead of the curve.
Yeah. I predict in 10 years taxi rides will be free in New Brunswick. Subsidized by cannabis sales.
Yeah, I agree.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just that there's nowhere to go. All right, you sit in the cab, pay the money, but there's
You
just
won't have to pay
nowhere to
You
go.
can just sit in the cab now.
Yeah,
Well, in 10 years from now, you'll be able to just sit in the cab.
and then
Listen to the radio. If you don't got a radio in New Brunswick, maybe.
what drugs are you on?
I see that.
Fucking tripping me out,
What's going
man.
on there, man?
It was just the smoke was just hanging out on the table. It was pretty cool. I don't know. I
That was
tripped
really
out,
cool.
man.
I watched it.
That was really cool. Do it again.
Do it again.
Do it again.
Yeah,
Do
man.
it again.
How many times have I heard that? Marijuana?
Yeah.
now
Well,
We totally blew 5 minutes on New Brunswick.
No. Yeah.
you want to do 5 minutes more? There isn't. There's nothing.
Saskatchewan?
Uber will come in and try to take over the cabs that aren't moving, and then there'll be a big fight.
Yeah.
And, it's whatever best for New Brunswickers, though.
Uber is not in the best interest of New
Uber
Brunswickers.
everywhere.
Uber is not in the best interest.
If you go to visit New Brunswick from, say, Ontario, they don't care.
If indeed
they
you're
don't
from
care
Ontario.
about you. It's all about New Brunswickers first. If trouble breaks out, that's why you never hear anything about that place ever till these guys, right? And they want public.
They'll totally steal your bike seats, too.
Right.
Seen it happen.
That's,
So here
Bike
was.
seat theft capital of Canada.
I'd be so mad. Like, how would we ride home?
Stand up.
I'd be so sad.
Well.
Oh, it's an uncomfortable ride.
So here's a survey that came out, released yesterday.
Well, I was going to totally Richard Dawson, but I passed.
And the survey says.
You got it.
Well, the survey says.
Lighter.
It is.
The survey says that Canadians who drive while high on marijuana believe they can do so safely. The biggest percentage of marijuana users think that they can drive safely.
Really?
Yes. This was the
Wow.
survey. The survey.
They sure didn't ask me anything. They'd be like, holy fuck, there's not a chance. You ever see me play Need
No.
for Speed when I'm stoned?
The survey
into
said that
everything.
more than 60% of respondents believe that the legal system is unprepared to deal with the people who drive under the influence of marijuana. And that close to the same number think there will be an increase in impaired driving if and when marijuana becomes legal. You know who did this survey? The State Farm Insurance Company.
Fuck's sake.
The State Farm Insurance Company.
Really?
Yeah. Like, really. And they get headlines and they get printed in the fucking newspaper with their survey. Survey says, we're going to keep ripping you off because we're State Farm. You're in good hands at State Farm. What the fuck? Like, they're coming out of the closet here to get involved and, like, the world's gone berserk about
You
marijuana.
got any info on State Farm?
Oh, God, no.
Aw,
I'm not going to research State Farm. They'll kill you.
I was hoping.
Right? they'll
Which
send
state
guys.
is the farm based out of?
Yeah, really. But come on.
That's what I want.
Like, really? The newspaper? Why
jingle?
would any journalist or anybody who
jingle.
Something about
prints
State
such
Farm
things,
is there.
Dun-dun-dun-dun, State Farm is there,
the
yeah,
State
yeah.
Farm Fair?
No, I'm trying to remember their little jingle.
Come to the State
Oh,
Farm
yeah.
Fair. 'cause
You
State
try to
Farm is
remember
there.
their
Or
jingle,
something.
but you can't.
I know.
Because they deny you coverage when you need it.
I know.
When you call them and say, hey, I need my insurance, they go, well, no. We're not going to give you any money.
Come on.
I'm not going to give you stuff. Are you
We're not gonna
crazy?
give you stuff.
No, we're an insurance company, and these fucks are powerful. It's not like State Farm is a tiny little insurance company. These people are multinational, huge players, and they don't pay. They don't pay nobody. And now they got a campaign suggesting that you are, in fact, impaired smoking marijuana when they don't have a clue. Nobody has a clue. No one's proved it one way or another. They haven't even done a fucking test. Oh my God. This is the only substance in the world that this is going on like. Like, really. They don't look at it. They won't potentially ever ask any questions about marijuana, or they just say what they say for their own vested interest.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
All those little like studies say those
J-Mac
weren't
just
real
nailed
actual
the
studies.
State Farm
All fake.
slogan.
And this is virtually what they've accused us of doing all of these years. They go, oh, you potheads are just saying that because you want your pot. Well, you're just saying that because you want a big trough of money keep flowing down into your office to research marijuana and the addictive possibilities, the public safety dilemma that we're in. Are my police this fucking bad that they're in a public safety issue? See, Ian,
Have a good one.
that they can't handle this? They can't handle marijuana being licensed? Like, really? I'm quite surprised by this angle that they're taking, that it's just too fucking hard, right? It's too complicated. We don't know what to do. Because everybody is just coming out of the woodwork to get their little piece of the action. Fairly infuriating. And now, as it turns out, there's a guy here in Canada called the Prince of Pot. Yeah. I read about him in the Toronto Star.
Really?
Yeah. Ontario.
What's
Toronto.
his deal?
I don't know. No, Mark is in Toronto and was interviewed. And they just talked to him brief. Well, it was actually a pretty big and good article about him. But I wanted to point out a couple of things. He, I don't know, when Mark was in jail and when he got out, he told me that it was not a bad experience for him in any way. He had not one problem, and it didn't really figure too much in his brain now because it was just another day. But as it turns out, like, holy fuck, he got a letter from a pal that he had met in the Mississippi prison, and while they were in there together, Mark had read a newspaper story about the U.S. government having plans to grant clemency for prisoners doing long sentences for nonviolent crimes. So Mark urged the other man to make an application, and he said, no, I don't want to do that. Like, he was in for life since the 90s for crack cocaine. All right. So he kind of balked, and Mark really urged and pushed him to make this application. And he gets a letter from the guy, dude, I'm out.
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
really cool.
Fuck yeah.
So, like, really, this is actually what Mark's all about. That's the core of him doing stuff like that for people all the time. But just wanted to point that out to you. Now, he also said, he hopes that the government doesn't try to reinvent the industry that made him famous. He said, we know how to grow weed, we know how to sell it, we know how to distribute it. All we're saying is we already have the industry, just legalize what we're doing and collect your taxes.
Yep.
Like, really?
Good on 'em.
Like,
That's-
isn't
that's-
that
that's well
the
versed.
bottom line, really? And the reason that they are going berserk is because they want to rip us off. They want to keep the prices high. They don't. Here's another one. Huntsville, Ontario. Nothing against Ontario. Huntsville's beautiful. Production facility is coming to Huntsville, it says. And they're calling themselves Muskoka Pharma. Black for a name, like, really? Pharma? What the fuck? Sad Pharma Inc. They announced that they're going to, I don't know, refurbish some hardwood flooring plant And they say the damnedest things, these people. Oh, it's just all about how much security they got, too. They have got like 200 high definition fucking motion sensor cameras with face recognition software and a fucking like a giant fence with barbed wire around their factory and shit because it's marijuana. It's not your.
Well, they might be growing a couple different kinds of green crack there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
gotta
Good
protect that
point.
shit.
Good point.
Gotta keep that stuff tight.
Well, here's what they're telling me about the marijuana that they are going to produce. He said, we will be purchasing several sophisticated, environmentally controlled plug-and-play hydroponic growth chambers from Play School or some fucking place, eh? Plug and play.
Get
That's
your
how you
plug-and-play
grow
growth system
marijuana
today.
is plug
By
and play. The-
Plug and play by Hasbro.
These growth chambers include
Parker Brothers.
HVAC lighting and CO2 control systems. Black, might I add. There's no fucking worse way to grow weed than with CO2. Gross.
I do
It
concur.
turns out like shit.
I do concur. It's great.
You
if
get
you're
more.
after
You
cellular
get
development.
more, but that's what they're all about then,
Good
is
shit for
getting
trichome
more.
Production, really.
Now these, no, it destroys trichome production is the problem.
Yep.
And that's why it has no taste when you've hacked down the extra harvest that you got from the pumping CO2 all over it. Is you-
Production's augmented as well.
No medicine, just leaf. Huh? But he's going into the business because it's all plug and play, don't you know? This thing, he said, is going to produce 500 pounds of dried marijuana a year. So he's just like every other, like many thousands of people I've met in my lifetime that are all about yield. That's it.
Let it
that's
go.
all.
Let the yield go. Just let
Yeah.
it go.
He's
Just
already-
Don't even worry about the yield.
He hasn't even flipped a switch and he's already figured out that it's going to be 500 pounds of dried cannabis. The rooms are computer controlled and have complex water control, color temperature adjustable LED lighting that is being developed by a leading Canadian university. A leading Canadian university. They couldn't even name it.
Yeah, I was
Well,
going to say which one.
'kay.
What's that?
Which
Is there a
one?
university in New Brunswick that nobody knows about?
Oh,
See, I just,
could be.
I'm just
Okay.
coming to the end of a little kind of experiment, and we took a bunch of plants in 2-gallon pots, flowered them at roughly 8 inches tall. These plants have now finished. You know, they're about that tall now, and I would say dried they'll have somewhere between 28 and 42 grams per plant. The room has 4 lights in it. The vegetative time was 6 days. So the whole thing is like 66 days start to finish. Well, minus the rooting time, so let's say 66. Let's say 73 days start to finish. And I get the setup of the setup cost of the room with fans and lights and stuff is less than $1,200. So all of these guys that are like, oh fuck, I got this $20,000 system and I got this and I got that, it's not gonna make your weed any fucking better. You're just creating overhead so that you can pad some of your profits.
Oh no, this is fucking high tech. They're going that.
Yeah, well, it doesn't need it. This
Oh, they're developing plant-based growing technologies in outer space with NASA and the Canadian Space Agency.
well, that's great if you're growing in space, but you're not. You're probably growing in a fucking warehouse. Oh, wait a minute, you're growing in a facility that made hardwood flooring.
Yeah.
So first of all, you have to make sure your facility's purged of any residual chemical, because there's lots of fucking chemicals that are used in hardwood flooring, from laminate to catalyzed lacquers, all of that. So you got to make sure that your whole facility's purged, and you've got a zero chemical count on
You
your
don't
flooring,
want your
on
green
walls,
crack.
all of that stuff.
You don't want your green crack tasting like glue. Right? So either one of the two
crazy.
green cracks that you end up
Absolutely
selling.
crazy.
No. This is who's getting into the industry, folks. All right. NASA and the Canadian Space Agency developing vegetable growing systems in extreme conditions in Dubai. That's what it says. Holy
What it
fuck.
says.
And Canadian Northwest Territories. Dubai and the Canadian
Oh.
Northwest Territories.
In our grow rooms,
So similar.
we've recreated high winds and drought to maximize the potentiality of these grow systems.
Yeah.
Basically.
Like, what
So,
the fuck?
they have no clue. They don't know anything about marijuana, evidently.
I'm sure some of them do, but it's from a whole different ideology.
They come at it from a commercial production point
Yeah,
of view. All of
they're
them.
gearheads.
So, they're
They're more about the gear that they're growing their weed with than the weed they're growing.
Yeah.
And I understand that. That's in any industry. There's different kind of different demographics within that ideology, right? And yeah, it's so big deal. There's a bunch of guys with money that are huge gearheads that are growing weed. It doesn't make your fucking weed any better.
No.
It just means you're trying harder to make your weed better. And there's guys out there that are spending $1,000, and if you take that and you match it light per light, their setup cost is like maybe 15% of the gearhead setup cost, and the weed's gonna be fucking better. So
Yeah.
stop flexing the gear, because it doesn't mean you know shit or you're gonna produce good weed. Boasting how what the gear, oh, well, look at we got the state of the art gear, but that just means you've got people that don't know shit about growing weed, so you have to subsidize their lack of knowledge for the state of the art gear.
And you've wasted all
And
this.
you're advertising it.
You've wasted all this money on all those security measures because nobody wants to break in and steal your weed.
They might
Right?
want to break in and steal your gear, though.
Yeah. They left all the weed, but they took the fancy lights. Yeah. A bunch of crazy nonsense. So, Colorado, of course, is still carrying on with their legalization program, and the governor, Hickenlooper, Governor Hickenlooper's back in the news. Eating crow is what he's doing, actually. He's kind of come about face compared to the way he was at the beginning. He actually said if he could wave a magic wand to reverse legalization, he would. He called the voters reckless for approving it in the first place, and he later downgraded reckless to risky.
It's just been reckless. It's
Yeah.
been downgraded to
It's
risky.
been downgraded to risky.
That's kind of ridiculous.
He said Colorado is known for many great things. Marijuana should not be one of them.
Yes, it should.
That's what he said in the beginning. Now, I don't know. I didn't even bother looking it up. Colorado's not known for a lot of great things. It has the most beer in the United States.
Beer, John
That's
Denver's?
what it's
Yeah.
known for.
Can't
beer.
believe it's got more beer than Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. They boast more beer than anywhere. But guys who are drunk say things like that. So I don't know.
I got more fucking beer in my shed than they got in all of the Maple Leaf Gardens.
Yeah. Now, despite the governor's opposition to the legalization, his job was to deliver on the will of the people of Colorado. And he said, if I had that magic wand now, he said, I don't know if I would wave it. He said, it's beginning to look like it might work. Right? Now, which is interesting. He said, not as vexing as we thought it was going to be. And he predicted that Colorado might actually create a system that could work. So, Mason Tvert, our friend
That's
down there in
positive,
Colorado.
Hickenlooper.
Yeah, he's seems like a reasonable guy when he's faced with it, right? He goes, okay, well, you guys voted for it. I don't agree with it. It's my job to put it
Fucking
put it
reckless.
into law,
It's risky.
right? Yeah. But here's what our
I
good
mean, it's all right, man. It could work.
our buddy Mason Tvert down in Colorado. He's the spokesman for the Marijuana Policy Project. He said the predictions of fire and brimstone have failed to materialize, is why he's saying it. He said most Coloradans, including the governor, recognize that the law is working. Colorado is actually booming. The state has, this is the way they put it, the state has 4.2% unemployment rate, one of the best in the country. I'm not sure I would call that the best. You'd say the lowest, wouldn't you? One of the lowest in the country, not the best. Ooh, we got the best unemployment rate.
Maybe it did well in
Nice.
school. Maybe it's like, maybe
But
the
anyway.
unemployment rate can play guitar and piano. And
Yeah.
you never know.
And they're always mannerly.
They could have a very cultured.
Apparently, a lot of high-tech companies are moving there. Small towns across the state, some once teetering on the brink of bankruptcy, have been saved by tax revenues. All right, well, I don't... you small towns out there in Canada, don't go spending money wildly now thinking you're going to get it all back because of tax revenue for marijuana. Big parties in villages across Canada. And, of course, they do get a huge amount of tax, right? $100 million in taxes into state coffers this year. $100 million in Colorado.
That's fucking crazy.
So, yeah, they're all licking their lips over that.
That's a lot of soccer balls.
I'm on a lot of it, not a lot of it, but some of it is certainly going to the schools, which is sad because they haven't found money to give to the schools otherwise.
Well, it makes me happy that we can just fucking swoop in and save the day. And like
Yeah,
maybe
it
reinstate some arts programs and reinstate some sports programs and,
Oh, yeah.
just like...
First
Get it
one's
better.
free. Okay? We'll front you this, but we're going to come back and the price might go up.
Well, it's like if you need it on the cuff, we'll charge you an extra little bit for this program or
Yeah.
that program.
Now, here's another good thing, an interesting thing. Here's the headline. Here are 5 highly reviewed marijuana strains for arousal.
Hello.
Boy,
The top 5.
is Love Potion one of them?
Nope.
Green
Wow.
crack.
Green crack. 2 different kinds of green crack available at the Wealth Society.
Himalayan.
All right, well, oddly enough, green crack is on the list.
Really?
Yeah.
Both
Of
kinds.
course it is.
So, given the name, it doesn't sound very sexy. Green crack? I don't know. Not sure why it'd be green.
Well, I only smoke green crack on St. Patrick's Day.
The next one is Granddaddy Perp.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Oh, I'm getting aroused by a strain that makes me think of my granddaddy, for fuck's sakes. And he's purple. Aren't you aroused? You and your green crack, aren't you aroused?
Oh my god.
How about Hindu skunk? Ooh, there's a really sexy sounding, smelling strain, eh? And out of the blue, Atomic Northern Lights.
Really, Doc?
Yeah,
Doc somehow got on their list.
I know Doc personally. Put me off being aroused completely by it. And the last but not least of the strains that are good for arousal is Sour Dream.
Not sweet dreams.
Not wet,
Not wet dream.
wet dream.
Not wet dream, but sour dream.
Sour Dream. They're just making stuff up out there. Or am I making stuff up here? You decide.
You never know.
And if you're wrong, who would know?
Yeah.
All right. You can be right about every wrong decision you make on this show. That's what we guarantee.
We guarantee it.
But another study, and I know how much Kush Queen enjoys studies.
She's like totally done with the studies. Her microphone's down. She's like,
Yeah,
Actually, don't feel very good.
it's about
gonna
this
take a
time
bit of
of
a
day
nap.
that she puts her
I got my hat
microphone
on.
down.
I'm taking a nap.
Now, maybe you have one of the 3 genes linked to marijuana addiction.
Oh, I got all 3 of them.
Right?
Definitely.
I wear them all the time. They're my 3 favorite jeans.
3 favorite genes. They're linked to marijuana addiction. Now, they came out with a study in JAMA Psychiatry. 3 genes linked to marijuana addiction, cannabis. And here's why there is the growing concern, because cannabis is the most widely used illicit drug in the world. Now,
It's all
hasn't
genetic,
every
right?
study ever fucking been done started with that sentence? It's that people like marijuana and they enjoy marijuana. It's good for them. So a lot of people smoke marijuana. It happens to be illegal. The inference that it's the most widely used and so it's fucking epidemic or something, right? From
Well, it
their
is,
point of
'cause
view.
it's the most widely used.
This is
Or
the
abused.
and that's
or
one of the reasons for the
something.
growing concern. It's been that way for 20 years, but
Well, for
it's
long
a
time,
growing
it's been a
concern. It's the most widely used illicit drug in the world, and debate around the impact of its use has been fueled by policies of legalization. Right?
Wow.
Now, the professor
Wait,
in
I missed that. What was that? I was thinking about this.
I
game
said,
Cuba that I had
hey,
when I was
everybody, welcome to the
12.
show. It's Wednesday. Oh, even not that far back.
No, I was thinking way far back. I was like in a corner store when I was 12 playing Cubert. Just fucking rocking.
No, the growing
High on
concern
hash.
is because it's the most widely used drug, and the debate about the impact of its use has been fueled by policies of legalization.
I missed that again. I was playing Crystal Castles.
So, and oddly enough, the psychiatry professor, his name is John Roach.
John Roach.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
He's the chief of the Division of Alcohol and Drug Addiction in
He came in at the end of the study.
San Antonio, Texas. Or as they like to call it, South America.
That's totally South America.
And
San
so,
Antonio.
John Roach said this is a first finding for marijuana, right? That there's a gene linked to the marijuana addicts. He said most people aren't addicted.
Well, some people do keep their marijuana genes in the attic.
I would.
Just
No.
the way it is. The basement's
Once
full.
again.
You need. It's like it's kind of a convenient place to put a vent. You know, so put the marijuana genes in the attic.
Yeah.
So you can vent right out of the roof. It's all good.
Now, out of the blue, the National Institute on Drug Abuse in the United States came up with the figure that 9% of all marijuana users become addicted. So, this guy says fewer than 10% fall into that category. All right, they
Fuck,
just
do I feel special?
yeah, said Mr. Roach. Now, they were selling the recovery center in downtown San Antonio is what they were up to at the end of this one.
Oh, by the way, our
Yeah.
recovery center's for sale.
Yeah.
You can buy it for $2.8 million.
Yeah, down there on Main Street. It's open 24 hours a day. Here's what the House, the Congress did in the United States a couple of days ago, stopped medical marijuana research in its tracks. There was a bill before them to that would have required a special pain management task force to consider how marijuana might be used as an alternative or in conjunction with prescription painkillers. There was 3 amendments that were in this bill, and they voted them all down. They took marijuana completely out of their task force investigation and passed that overwhelmingly. So that would have actually given science the ability to take a look at marijuana to see if it was in fact helpful to people. They won't even let them do that.
Oh no, that's can't do
No,
that.
no.
One of them was CBDs too. They wanted to split that out off to the side and see if they could get that legalized too, and they went, not gonna do it. Oh, that is very nice of you, fucks. Hey? All right. Let's get out of here. Here's one last thing. On Monday at around 4:20, deputies said they responded to a call at the Seneca service area, out on Aldridge Road, where they allegedly discovered Max in possession of more than 25 grams of a substance that field tested positive for marijuana.
What?
Yep.
They caught Max with weed?
Yep.
Max doesn't smoke weed. That's a setup.
It's a setup. Ontario County Sheriff's deputies charged Max.
Totally framed Max is what you did.
He's
Max doesn't smoke weed.
Yeah.
You planted that.
He's 18 years old.
I know.
Of 8 Beach Flint Way,
Max is a good kid.
with a 5th-degree criminal possession of marijuana.
He's also got a
Fifth
fifth
degree.
He's also got a 5th degree black belt.
Yeah. Max has been working at this for years. I remember when he was only 2nd degree felon.
Yeah.
He's up to 5th degree. 18-year-old, 5th degree criminal possession of marijuana, as well as endangering the welfare of a child after a 15-year-old was allegedly discovered inside the vehicle. So, apparently, you're endangering a child if you have marijuana. Just if you have it, you're endangering it for some reason. But here's the thing that bothered me mostly about this whole report. First of all, I think I've read it before. I think I remember this
Yeah, his name was Bill.
from that at 4:20 they fucking went down. There was a kid in the car. I'm pretty sure, but at any rate, here's what they said. They allegedly discovered him in possession of the marijuana and allegedly discovered the 15-year-old in the car, and Max lived at 8 Beach Flint Way, Victor, New York. I went there today on Google Earth, looked at his fucking house. He allegedly did these things, yet you published his address? Why would you do that? 18-year-old kid. Oh, yeah. It's a nice house.
Max was staying in some pretty baller.
Well,
He's a baller.
turns
A
out
lot of marijuana.
Victor, New York, they be all nice houses. Right? 96.4% white people in Victor, except for Max. No, I don't know. I shouldn't say that. But, very affluent neighborhood. But what the fuck? Like, who gives the the newspaper the right to publish the kid's address when everything else was allegedly have happened? They didn't say, maybe he lives at 8 fucking Flint Way.
Yeah, everyone's gonna be showing up at his house.
Looking for
So
weed. Maybe the kid's got the hookup.
the backyard to the house was butted up against Cumberland Rolling Hills Golf Course, I think it was called. Oh, it was very white and exclusive. None of us could go. Not one person in this room could go to that golf course.
I could. They just
Really?
wouldn't let me in.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't let you in.
I'd
You
go
go
in
to the
anyways,
golf
and then they'd
course,
kick me
but no,
Yeah.
no, your shirt wouldn't get you in. Oh no,
This shirt will get me in. They'd be like, Bongzilla? Fuck, you are
They had a description of the type of spaghetti strap dress that a woman would be allowed
so
to
like,
wear.
Man, you have no idea.
No,
We've
that's
been
that
waiting
Dan.
for you. They busted our regular dealer, Max, this kid that lived on the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
He was our fucking 9-hole hookup. We've been waiting. Bongzilla, come on in. Maybe totally. They need the hookup at the country club. Max got heat.
So, that's absolutely everything that happened in marijuana this past week.
Yep. Wasn't much. Don't blame us.
Hey,
You want better news? Do more.
it's not like this show, not like we advertised this show ever was plug and play. So,
You guys are silly.
And I'm fishing the fishbowl.
That's a lot of hard work. This show.
Yeah.
We gotta work all week on not organizing it.
yeah. How can we be more scattered?
Yeah.
That's how we approach it every week.
Let me host the show.
But it was fun. I learned some things.
I really didn't because I was at rehearsal this week, and
Most of
Yeah.
these stories were Al's anyway, right? I'm just reading this shit. He comes up with it.
sometimes
But we should get out of here.
sometimes
Queen,
it's
the-
they're
She is
really,
really under that now.
she's done, eh? She's
Yeah.
like, I'm so fucking done. I'm not even holding the
Yeah.
microphone anymore.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry.
She's
She
like,
fully did not
"Whatever with a
expect to go to
capital."
503. All right. We're just rambling now, but
Oh, we were
thanks a
rambling
lot.
when we started.
Thanks,
Thanks for sticking around.
Thank you.
thanks to Al and Kush Queen for being here, Alyssa for helping out, Everett for being there too.
Everett for being.
Didn't-
Look at him.
didn't
I
s-
wish you could see him right now.
He's like completely
Smiling.
unimpressed.
And all these folks over here, thanks for putting up with us today.
Well, that
And
was
we'll be
easier.
back next week. And until then, write to your local politician and tell them how you feel about marijuana in your society, because it's actually these city clowns that are going to have the most effect on you. And yeah, don't go to New Brunswick. We'll see you next week.
Not unless you're from New Brunswick.
That's right.
You're not allowed.
I know a guy, though. Call me.
I don't know anybody from New Brunswick.
I saw that.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for popping by. I'm Marijuana Man. Peace and
Bye.
pot.